Imagine this: you're sitting alone, replaying a moment from your day that you wish had gone differently. Maybe you made a small mistake, but now, it's all you can think about. Before you know it, that single moment turns into a whole story of failure, or even worse, a belief that you're just not good enough. This cycle of negative thinking? It's not random. It's part of something we call cognitive distortions, powerful, automatic thoughts that can hold you back, stress you out, and shape your reality in ways you don't even realize. But here's the good news: these patterns can be broken. In this video, we'll uncover the most common cognitive distortions and, more importantly, practical ways to overcome them, so you can start seeing yourself and your life more clearly. If you've ever felt trapped in a loop of self-doubt or negative thinking, this video might just change the way you see yourself and your world. Cognitive distortions are inaccurate and often negative thought patterns that can affect our perception, emotions, and behavior. They are automatic and deeply ingrained ways of thinking that lead to misinterpretations and faulty beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world around us. Recognizing and addressing cognitive distortions is crucial for mental health and overall well-being, as these patterns can contribute to issues like anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. In this video, we'll explore the most common types of cognitive distortions and provide practical strategies to help overcome them. The concept of cognitive distortions was first introduced by psychologist Aaron Beck, who noticed that patients with depression often had recurring patterns of negative thinking. His findings were expanded upon by psychiatrist David Burns, who identified specific types of cognitive distortions that affect individuals. Cognitive distortions are exaggerated or irrational thoughts that we subconsciously reinforce over time. While everyone experiences these thought patterns occasionally, consistent reliance on them can lead to an unbalanced view of reality, impacting mental health. Here are common types of cognitive distortions. 1. All-or-nothing thinking. This distortion, also called black and white thinking, involves seeing things in absolute terms. For example, you might believe you're a complete failure if you make a mistake, or think that something is totally ruined if it doesn't go as planned. This type of thinking doesn't allow for nuance and can lead to perfectionism and self-criticism. 2. Overgeneralization. When we overgeneralize, we take a single event and apply it broadly to other situations. For instance, if you fail one test, you might start to believe you're bad at school altogether. This distortion often uses words like always or never and creates a mindset that one negative experience represents an unchangeable trend. 3. Catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is when we expect the worst possible outcome or exaggerate the significance of minor issues. This could look like believing that a small mistake at work will lead to being fired or assuming that a minor argument will destroy a relationship. 4. Mental filtering. Mental filtering involves focusing solely on the negative aspects of a situation while ignoring the positive. For example, if you receive both positive and critical feedback on a project, you might only dwell on the criticism, disregarding any praise. This distortion prevents us from seeing the full picture and appreciating our achievements. 5. Discounting the positive. This distortion is similar to mental filtering but involves actively rejecting positive experiences. People with this tendency might receive a compliment and think, they're just being nice. This way of thinking devalues any positive feedback and perpetuates negative self-perception. 6. Jumping to conclusions. This type includes two subcategories: mind reading and fortune telling. Mind reading involves assuming you know what others are thinking, usually something negative, while fortune telling is predicting a negative future outcome without evidence. 7. Emotional reasoning. Emotional reasoning is the belief that if we feel something, it must be true. For example, if you feel anxious about a social event, you might assume the event will go poorly because of your anxiety. This distortion makes emotions the sole basis for truth and can lead to misinterpretations of situations. 8. Should statements. People with this distortion impose rigid expectations on themselves or others, often using words like should or must. For instance, you might think, I should be able to handle this without help. When these expectations aren't met, it can lead to guilt, frustration, or resentment. 9. Labeling and mislabeling. Labeling involves assigning a fixed, negative label to oneself or others based on isolated incidents. If you make a mistake, you might label yourself as stupid or a failure. Mislabeling is often extreme and emotionally charged, reinforcing negative beliefs. 10. Personalization and blame. In personalization, you take excessive responsibility for events beyond your control, while blaming involves attributing all responsibility to others. Both distortions prevent objective evaluation of a situation and hinder personal growth. Recognizing cognitive distortions is the first step toward changing them. Once we become aware of these automatic patterns, we can start implementing techniques to challenge and transform them. 1. Identify and acknowledge distortions. Start by identifying when you experience cognitive distortions. Pay attention to times when you feel anxious, sad, or frustrated, as these emotions can signal distorted thinking. Journaling or keeping a thought diary can help, as writing down your thoughts allows you to examine them more objectively. Write down the specific thoughts you're having and try to match them to one or more of the distortions listed above. This exercise can build awareness and set the stage for change. 2. Challenge your thoughts. Once you've identified a distorted thought, ask yourself questions to challenge its validity. For instance, what evidence do I have for and against this thought? Am I considering all possible interpretations or just the negative ones? Would I say this to a friend if they were in my situation? These questions encourage critical thinking and help you see whether your thoughts are realistic or based on assumptions. 3. Reframe negative thoughts. After challenging a distorted thought, try to replace it with a more balanced and realistic one. For example, if you're thinking, I always mess things up, you could reframe it as, I made a mistake this time, but that doesn't mean I always fail. Reframing doesn't mean ignoring the negative, but rather putting it in perspective and recognizing it as one part of the bigger picture. 4. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and observing your thoughts without judgment. It can help you become more aware of your thought patterns and reduce the tendency to react emotionally to them. Practicing mindfulness meditation or simply spending a few minutes focusing on your breath can increase your awareness of cognitive distortions and help you detach from them. 5. Engage in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is a widely used, evidence-based therapy that focuses on identifying and changing cognitive distortions and harmful behaviors. Through CBT, individuals learn techniques for challenging distorted thoughts, managing emotions, and modifying behavior. CBT can be practiced with a licensed therapist, but self-help books and online resources also offer CBT-based techniques for those looking to improve on their own. 6. Set realistic goals and expectations. People with cognitive distortions often set unrealistic standards for themselves, leading to self-criticism and disappointment. Establishing achievable goals can provide a sense of accomplishment and boost confidence. For instance, instead of setting a goal to never make a mistake, try setting a goal to learn something from each mistake. This shift in mindset encourages growth and reduces the impact of cognitive distortions. 7. Seek social support. Talking to trusted friends, family, or mental health professionals can provide a different perspective on situations where cognitive distortions come into play. Sometimes, we're so close to a situation that it's difficult to see it objectively. Input from others can reveal the biases in our thinking, making it easier to challenge and change distorted thoughts. 8. Focus on self-compassion. Cognitive distortions often arise from harsh self-criticism. Practicing self-compassion can reduce the power of these distortions and help you respond to mistakes or challenges more kindly. When you notice yourself falling into a distorted thought pattern, consider how you would talk to a friend in the same situation. Offering yourself that same level of understanding can soften negative self-talk and build resilience. 9. Create a plan for handling setbacks. Overcoming cognitive distortions takes time, and setbacks are inevitable. Create a plan to remind yourself of strategies that work for you. This might include keeping a list of questions to challenge your thoughts or practicing specific mindfulness exercises. Being prepared for setbacks can help you manage them without feeling overwhelmed. Working to overcome cognitive distortions can bring numerous benefits. By shifting away from negative thought patterns, you're likely to experience reduced stress, increased self-esteem, and improved relationships. Over time, you'll become better equipped to handle challenges and approach situations with a balanced mindset. Breaking free from cognitive distortions not only improves mental health but also promotes a more fulfilling, positive outlook on life. Finally, cognitive distortions are common, and nearly everyone experiences them at some point. However, these patterns can become problematic when they're frequent and influence our decisions, emotions, and behaviors. By recognizing and addressing cognitive distortions, we can improve our mental health and develop a healthier relationship with ourselves and others. Through techniques like mindfulness, self-compassion, and cognitive restructuring, it's possible to replace distorted thoughts with more balanced, realistic perspectives. With practice and patience, you can learn to challenge and overcome cognitive distortions, empowering yourself to live a more positive and resilient life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.